Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Reecee News. And first off, we have some bad news from Nintendo. Basically, the Wii U and 3DS eShop will not be accepting credit cards after January 22nd, 2022. And that's kind of the beginning of the end for the Nintendo eShop on the Wii U and 3DS. And that's kind of unfortunate because it has the Virtual Console, which the Switch doesn't have. And that's why the Wii U and even the 3DS is better than the Nintendo Switch in terms of legacy content. I wouldn't say it's better overall, because I do like some things about the Switch better than the 3DS, and then, of course, better than the Wii U. But legacy content is where the Wii U shined, and it's too bad that you won't be able to buy, like, legacy content on there anymore, or any of the other games on the Wii U, because there are a few Wii U exclusives that aren't on the Nintendo Switch, which will probably go up in price in a few years if they aren't put on the Switch. So, if you want to get Virtual Console games or any other game on the Wii U and 3DS, I would recommend that you would buy them soon, because it's probably gonna shut down either next year or the year after, kind of like how the Wii Shop did. So, yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that the Switch doesn't have an alternative and they're just going ahead and shutting down the Wii U and 3DS. So, I really want legacy content like the Virtual Console to come to the Nintendo Switch, because Nintendo Switch Online, one, you don't even own the games, it's just through a paid service, kind of like cloud gaming and everything, and two, they're very limited with the games. Sure, there's over 100 games in total, but like half of those games are kind of not really worth playing. Like, I wouldn't say half, but a big portion of those games are just, I guess, shovelware, or games that people really aren't gonna play, or games that really people don't really care about. So it's kind of unfortunate that Nintendo's not really adding any other systems to the Nintendo Switch to play other than the NES and SNES, because there's a large market for like retro gaming and like playing older games, because emulation is really popular, and people wouldn't have to emulate if there's an option to play them on the Nintendo Switch. So I don't really know why Nintendo isn't doing this, but we'll just have to see what Nintendo is gonna do. So, and with the drip feed of the SNES games, and we're basically getting really obscure games at this point, I have a feeling that we might get Nintendo 64 games soon, because this is basically what happened before the SNES was added. The NES games were getting, like, really boring, and no one really cared about them. So we could get Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, Nintendo 64, something like that. So we'll just have to see. So next up, there was actually some new information on the Gigaleak that happened last year. So there was some new information about some Pokemon games. So basically the prototype of Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, which looks pretty interesting. Like on Twitter from Forest of Illusion, we only got some surface level information on this, but it's still pretty interesting that we know about it, and also the same for Pokemon Gen 4. But the real interesting thing here is the early Wiimote designs, which are actually green on here, and the button placement is completely different. Like, on some of the designs, the D-pad is in a different place, there's like different buttons on there, and it looks really interesting, like how they went through the different designs on there. And these have to be from around like 2005 to early 2006, around that time, so they look really interesting. And like, I think it's really good that we're getting like a lot of the history of some of the prototypes of the Wii and some of the other Nintendo consoles, because it's kind of interesting to see from the history of everything. And there's also an early design for the Virtual Console, something that we talked about a couple minutes ago, but it looks really cool, and it was basically the E3 2006 build of like the preview and everything. So it's kind of like a Virtual Console menu, which looks interesting. So that was like before the Wii launched and everything, obviously. So it looks really interesting. And the final thing here was a little more recent, and it's basically a new Pokemon pinball game from the DS era, and basically it was developed by the same developers as Metroid Prime Pinball in Mario Pinball Land Fuse, and yeah, it looks pretty interesting from what we've heard about it. There's not really too much information, but it does sound interesting. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Twitter if you want to. Goodbye.